Welcome to the abyss of crime, where the shadows whisper secrets, and the truth is often stranger than fiction. From chilling unsolved crimes to controversial trials, we explore the darker side of humanity through meticulous investigation and compelling storytelling. Today, we're diving into another harrowing case, the Kaylor family tragedy. Can a crime ever be justified by a nervous disorder? In 1995, Kansas passed a law stating that an offender who committed a premeditated crime could not blame his actions on a mental disorder that made him unable to distinguish right from wrong. This law emerged because many criminals, when brought to trial, attempted to avoid punishment by claiming a lack of control due to mental illness. This context is crucial to understanding the defense used by James Craig Kaylor, the head of the once happy and large Kaylor family, who tried to use insanity as a defense to avoid responsibility for the atrocities he committed. However, psychologists found him sane, attributing his actions to jealousy, rage, and a desire for revenge against his ex-wife and daughters. James Craig Kaylor, known as Craig, was born in 1963 in Weatherford, Texas. He met his future wife, Karen Kaylor, who was born in 1965 during their university years in Texas. Craig, an engineering student, and Karen, a humanities freshman, quickly bonded and began a romantic relationship. Craig was known for his determination and talent in engineering, while Karen was admired for her kindness and dedication to her studies. They married in the late 1980s and welcomed their first child, Emily, in 1991, followed by Lauren in 1993. The couple seemed perfect for each other, sharing common interests and a deep affection. Craig's career took off when he received a lucrative job offer at a large utility company in Weatherford in 1999, coinciding with the birth of their son, Sean. With a higher income, Craig moved the family to a spacious house in a prestigious neighborhood, while Karen stayed home to raise their children. Outwardly, the Kaylors seemed like the perfect family. Emily and Lauren excelled in sports and music, often participating in vocal competitions and local events. Emily, an outstanding student, went to a prestigious pharmacy college, while Lauren dreamed of attending a conservatory to pursue a career in music. Sean, a curious and outgoing boy, was interested in numismatics and aspired to become an archaeologist. Despite the outward appearance of perfection, significant issues loomed within the Kaylor family. By 2007, Karen confided in her sister Linda about the intense control Craig exerted over her, monitoring all household expenditures and setting strict schedules for the entire family. Craig demanded a full accounting of all expenditures, not just major purchases, but everyday household expenses as well. Karen provided him with supermarket receipts, bank transaction data, and reported her whereabouts daily while he was at work. The entire Kaylor family lived on a strict schedule set by Craig. When he returned from work, his wife and children had to be home to meet him. They went to bed, woke up, and ate at certain times, and even intimacy between the couple was scheduled. Over time, Craig's obsession with control intensified. He became increasingly demanding and selfish, and Karen's actions were scheduled down to the hour. Karen felt enslaved, with no free time and only duties and responsibilities. She tried to fulfill all of her husband's demands, hoping that he would loosen his control and they could return to their old life. But Craig seemed to enjoy his control and was unwilling to change. Linda was deeply disturbed by her sister's revelations, as she, like everyone else, had seen Craig as the perfect husband, father, and family man. Despite her advanced age and 3 children, Karen was in great physical shape. She adhered to good nutrition principles, periodically followed diets, took care of herself, and jogged every day. Secretly from her husband, she enrolled in a local fitness club, where she started working out for several hours every day. It was her way of blowing off steam, distracting herself, and getting her thoughts in order. She attended the gym while Craig was at work, so he didn't notice her working out. Soon, the management of the sports club noticed the attractive, fit, and diligent woman. Karen was offered a position as a fitness instructor with a probationary period and the possibility of an official labor contract. The former housewife could not have dreamed of such an opportunity, because now she could continue doing what she loved and even receive a decent remuneration for it. Eventually, Craig found out that his wife was going to the gym. Karen expected a scandal and that her husband would forbid her to go, but surprisingly, he reacted calmly. He even seemed pleased that his wife had found something to do and was now earning her own money. His only conditions were that she had to be home when he arrived, cook meals, and not disrupt their planned intimate life. Karen found these conditions acceptable because now she had the freedom of action and the ability to provide for her own needs, without having to justify every dime she spent to her husband. At the fitness club, Karen met and became close to a new instructor named Sunny Rice. For Karen, who had been a stay-at-home mom for many years and was unable to socialize with people outside the family, Sunny became a trusted confidant. The women spent time together at work every day, sometimes going for walks, drinking coffee, and having heart-to-heart talks. It didn't take long for their friendship to grow into something more. Naturally, they hid their feelings and relationship from everyone. But in time, Karen decided that she had to confess everything to her husband. After months of preparation, Karen opened up to Craig. Although Craig was puzzled by his wife's revelation, he reacted calmly and did not make a scene. However, the next day, Craig stated that he agreed to his wife's relationship with Sunny, but on the condition that he could join them. Karen was shocked by her husband's proposal and didn't know how to react to it. Nevertheless, Craig took the initiative and began courting Sunny, sending her flowers and small gifts. He seemed to see this as an opportunity to brighten his intimate life and add passion and new sensations to his marriage with Karen. At first, the women agreed to his proposal, but soon they realized that for Craig, it was a game of dominance. Their peculiar love triangle didn't last long, and Craig was made to realize that he was not welcome in their relationship. Feeling insulted, Craig demanded that Karen end the affair immediately, but she continued to date Sunny, genuinely in love. After nearly 2 decades of marriage, it seemed that Karen was ready to leave her husband for a new relationship. After months of scandals, confrontations, and agonizing deliberation, Craig decided that the best solution to save his family would be to move to another state. He began looking for a new job, sending out resumes, and soon landed a position as a water director for a large company in Columbia, Missouri, a city neighboring Kansas. Craig believed that moving to another state would end Karen's affair with Sunny, and their family life would return to normal. The move in the summer of 2008 proved difficult for the family, as the children had to change schools, make new friends, and adjust to life in a new city. Although the family was already well off, Craig's salary in his new position was nearly double what he earned in Weatherford. However, with more responsibilities and more hours on the job, Craig naively thought he had cut Sunny out of his wife's life for good. But he was wrong. In December 2008, on New Year's Eve, the Kaylor family returned to their hometown to visit family and friends. Sunny was also present at this party. Karen and Sunny behaved low-key at first, simply exchanging greetings. However, as the party progressed, and under the influence of alcohol, they seemed to forget about social norms. The lovers were inseparable, holding hands, exchanging longing glances, and some guests even caught them kissing. Craig wasn't just angry, he was furious. Karen had insulted and humiliated him in front of dozens of former roommates, friends, and co-workers, making her affair public. Craig made a scene at the party, verbally attacking his wife and Sonny. An enraged Craig forcibly dragged Karen away from the party. On the way home, he lost control of himself. He grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her with such force that her dress ripped. He then slapped her, causing her to stumble and fall, hitting her head hard. After returning home, the conflict did not subside. A few days later, Karen told Craig that she was leaving him. She initiated divorce proceedings and demanded custody of the children. At first, Craig tried to apologize, begging to keep the family together for the sake of the children and offering to give their marriage another chance. However, Karen was adamant and obtained a divorce. Craig then began calling their mutual friends and relatives, asking them to talk to Karen and convince her not to break up the family and stay with him. Despite his best efforts, she firmly told him that she was leaving for Sonny and had never truly been happy in their marriage. In early spring 2009, while they were still living under the same roof, another argument broke out, and Craig resorted to physical violence for the first time since that New Year's Eve party. Meanwhile, despite the ongoing divorce proceedings, Craig still hoped that his wife would change her mind and come back to him. He was jealous, tried to control her, and followed her everywhere. He watched her house, followed her around town in a rental car trying to remain undetected, and even tried to set up a hidden camera in her house when no one was there. Naturally, all of this took time and effort, so Craig had to sacrifice work. First, he took a vacation. Then he claimed that he was sick. And in the end, he just started skipping work without explanation. This reckless behavior led to his termination. After losing his job and source of income, Craig was forced to move into his parents' house because he couldn't afford his own. Now, with plenty of free time, he was able to stalk his ex-wife all day long, leading her to take him to court to stop him from approaching her. In November 2009, just before Thanksgiving, Karen took her children to visit her 89-year-old grandmother, Dorothy White, in the small town of Burlingame, Kansas, to spend the vacation. On the evening of November 29th, the Burlingame Police Department received an alarm call about a suspicious van and the sound of gunshots. Dorothy's neighbors reported seeing a small truck pull up to the elderly woman's home, a man get out of it and enter the house. They then allegedly heard screams and gunshots, but were not sure. The man then left the house, got back into the truck, and drove away quickly. Neighbors did not attempt to apprehend him, fearing he was armed. When police pulled up to the house, they were met by a terrified 10-year-old boy calling for help. It was Sean Kahler, who couldn't explain what had happened, but it was clear that a terrifying scene awaited the police inside. Near the front door, they found the 89-year-old homeowner lying in a pool of blood, surprisingly still alive despite 2 gunshot wounds. In the kitchen, police found the lifeless body of 44-year-old Karen, shot in the chest and then killed by a close-range gunshot to the head. Her ex-husband had left her with no chance of survival. The body of her oldest daughter, 18-year-old Emily, lay between a wall and a couch. She had apparently tried to hide from her enraged father, but he caught up with her and took her life with 2 point-blank shots. Her younger sister, Lauren, lay in a pool of blood in a second-floor bedroom. She was still alive, begging faintly to save her life, and repeatedly stating that her father had done it. The elderly woman and Lauren were immediately rushed to the intensive care unit of a nearby hospital. Despite the doctor's best efforts, their lives could not be saved. Lauren died on the morning of December 1st from massive blood loss and damage to her internal organs, and her great-grandmother died a few hours later that day. Sean, the only surviving witness, was in a state of shock. Psychologists worked with him, but he needed a thorough interrogation as the only living witness to the tragic events at his great-grandmother's house. He said that evening, his mother was in the kitchen preparing dinner, and he approached her to ask for his favorite pies. Suddenly, the back door of the house swung open, and their father entered with a shotgun. Without saying a word, the man pointed the barrel at his ex-wife and shot her, then moved closer and fired again. For the first few seconds, Sean froze in horror. Then his father turned to him but didn't aim, just silently and intently stared at him. Sean realized he had to run, so he jumped out at the open back door. The boy ran toward the main entrance, hoping to alert his grandmother and sisters and call for help. However, as he reached the threshold, he heard several more gunshots. Fearing to enter the house, he hid in a small outbuilding. He heard several more shots and waited in terror for his father to come after him. Craig was immediately put on the wanted list, with warnings that he was armed and extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, police received several reports of a speeding truck, which helped them quickly determine the direction the gunman was traveling. At one point, Craig abandoned his vehicle in a wooded area and began walking down a deserted road. Law enforcement quickly caught up with him and apprehended him the next morning. He had left the rifle and ammunition in the back seat with prescription medication for depression and anxiety disorders, lying next to the driver's seat. Craig did not resist arrest. He did not seem to care anymore, looking confused and even frightened. He honestly admitted that he was armed with a gun and a hunting knife, but did not intend to use them. He also admitted that he had done something terrible that he believed the police already knew about. At first, when he was taken to the police station, Craig fully admitted his guilt and poured his heart out to the investigating officer. Craig's trial began in December 2010. The defendant, advised by his lawyer Thomas Heaney, recanted his initial confession, blaming his actions on mental illness and insanity. It was his only option to avoid the death penalty for the murder of 4 people. Heaney tried to convince the court that his client was in a difficult psycho-emotional state after his wife left him for a lover. His children sided with their mother. He lost his job and was forced to move back into his parents' home. All of these factors contributed to the breakdown, the lawyer said, and Mr. Kaylor committed the crime while insane, not realizing what he was doing. Prior to 1995, there was indeed a law that allowed criminals to get leniency by pleading insanity. However, in Kansas, where the crime was committed and the trial took place, that law was repealed. Furthermore, the prosecution found no evidence of insanity or an affected state in Craig's actions, only cold calculation. He purchased guns and ammunition in advance, went to Dorothy White's house knowing that his entire family was there, and shot each victim twice, leaving no chance of survival. However, he deliberately spared his son Sean, allowing him to escape. In August 2011, Craig was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death. Sean, who was 12 years old at the time, testified at the final hearing. He said that he did not wish his father dead, as he was the only close relative left. Despite numerous appeals by Craig and his attorneys, the verdict remained unchanged. As of today, Mr. Kaylor is still in prison and continues to fight to have the case reviewed and the death sentence overturned. What are your thoughts on the motives behind such chilling crimes? Do you believe justice was truly served in this case? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the shadows of the abyss of crime. As we conclude our exploration of the Kaylor family case, we hope it has illuminated the deeper issues that lurk beneath the surface of society. If this series has captured your interest, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the darkest corners of criminal investigations. Please click the bell icon to ensure you don't miss any updates. Your engagement helps us bring these important stories to light. Until next time, stay vigilant and keep seeking the truth. Goodbye for now.